When you watch the mainstream media news, do you feel a little twitch? Is there a tingle in your left hand? Is your jaw locked? We have the solution. Welcome to Reasonable Arguments, the podcast where thoughtful debate meets unfiltered fun. Coming to you from Sarasota, Florida, we mix informed conservative commentary, playful banter, and just the right amount of nonsense to keep it entertaining. This is Reasonable Arguments, and now your host.
All right, so we're here today with my childhood friend, Laura Hoffman, which I'm always going to call you.
And I'm always going to call you Jenny.
I think we went, how many years without speaking? Like 30 years without speaking, and then found each other on Facebook again, and now here we are talking politics.
Absolutely.
Who would have thought? And we have Shannon Miller, who is Laura's friend. And how do you two know each other?
Homeschool moms.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep. We homeschooled our kids together when I was in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Wow. Okay. All right. So, Laura, why don't you tell everybody what you do? Just give them a little synopsis.
Sure. I'm an assistive technology specialist at a university in Missouri. I help students with disabilities through the use of technology.
Wonderful. And Shannon?
I'm a data broker. I report on people's liens and judgments. They end up on credit reports.
Okay. All right. So we are going to talk about January 6th today. And I know that, Laura, you and I have talked about this before, and this is something that you've wanted to get out because obviously the controversy of everything going on, and you being there as an eyewitness, you want to tell your story. So what initially drew you to going to this January 6th event, probably knowing that, something was going to happen based on the way the world was that day?
I think we thought something good was going to happen. We were excited to be a part of it, just being a person amongst the group to say, hey, things aren't the way that they should be. Something went wrong. There's some injustice here, and we just want to be part of it. And so Shannon and I decided to meet up. I brought two other girlfriends from Missouri, and Shannon came down from Pennsylvania, and we met in DC.
Yeah, I had listened to the around Thanksgiving, the Pennsylvania Senate had some hearings, and it became quite obvious in the course of those hearings that the people that they had as witnesses were very viable, and that there was really some shenanigans going on. And I just felt called to go down and just pray over the area.
Okay.
And that was the moment to do it.
Okay. All right. So let's walk us through that day. So you get into DC, and what happens?
Well, we just basically, the subway ride in was packed, really packed, but you kind of anticipate that when you're going to an event like this. We got there early. The whole crowd was sort of walking in the general direction of the ellipse. There were people laughing, joking, carrying banners, pulling suitcases and coolers with stuff in them, water and what have you. It was
it all Trump supporters?
I think mostly on the way in, but when you got to the ellipse, there were some people who were, and we're joking around. It's a jovial mood. We're like, hey, there's a Fed over there. Do you see that guy right there with the buzzy haircut and the khaki shorts and the polo shirt? Like you could spot him in the crowd, but nobody really paid him much attention. We expected to have some.
Yeah, but there was no opposition. There was nobody screaming at us to not be there or, anything anti-Trump. It was a lot of folks just gathering together to stand up to say, something's not right. And we walked peacefully. We made new friends and chatted and sang YMCA together.
I love that line.
and just were part of this big collection of like-minded people. At least that's what we thought.
There were
So
a
how
bunch of
long
people.
sorry, how early did you get there before the actual rally started?
Great question. Early enough that I was freezing by the time that it started. I mean, it was cold.
I know that we were there at least a half an hour, 45 minutes early, and we just kept like the crowd just kept pushing and pushing and pushing in. And by the time we were, pretty much shoulder to shoulder, bum to bum, we were, a little bit warmer, but it was
Right.
the thing that I noticed most about it is that there was just such a mix of people. The people that were standing directly behind us, very nice young woman, black woman from somewhere in New York City. I don't remember
Yep.
which borough, and her husband, a Hispanic dude. On the way in, there were some Chinese looking people handing out anti CCP flyers. It was just a very, very mixed bag crowd, but it all seemed to be like we were all, as soon as we spoke to each other for a minute, we were all like, yep, yep, there was something shady about that. Yeah, there was.
But everybody was happy and peaceful and just standing together. I mean, there were people literally climbing the trees so that they could see what was going on. There were
Now, how
so many people.
far from the Capitol are you from the rally?
We were about 20 feet back across the street from the ropes.
Yeah. But we
So could
were
you see the Capitol doors?
we we had a straight shot from where we were to where we were going to be. Like our plan was as soon as President Trump was done talking, we were going to make our way to the Capitol. So we
Mhm.
positioned ourselves to be in the front of the crowd going to the Capitol. And I bet we only made it halfway before the Capitol was breached. I'm 100% confident that whoever breached the Capitol was already there before Trump even finished speaking.
There was
Okay,
no
so
way
how
you could listen
You
to
couldn't
they could have listened to the end and then
Yeah,
gone.
they could not have heard him speak and then made it there in time to do what they did.
how long did he speak? Do you remember?
I don't.
25 to
I
40 minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe.
It was a
I
while.
joke because if he goes off a teleprompter or doesn't have a teleprompter, then you know you're gonna be there for a while. So settle in. It's gonna be a while.
You know what? We were so happy to be there that no matter how long he spoke, it wouldn't have been enough, right? Because we just wanted to be a part of it. And there was nothing negative about what was being said or portrayed or how we were feeling. We were all just there for common purpose.
Okay, and then so people have said that he started the insurrection. He's the one with his words and all of that. How was his speech throughout the whole time? And how were people responding to it?
He was insistent that the members that were there were going to stand up and say, "Okay, we need to investigate this more." It was clear that he believed that that's what needed to happen, and he did say, "Peacefully make your voices heard."
Yeah.
And he did also say at that point that he was gonna meet us down there, which, like, even in my head, I when he said it, I couldn't figure out how he was gonna get from place to place with all of his security and make that happen. As we walked down, you could tell he was not gonna be able to make that.
Right. It's funny when we got back to Virginia after being down in DC, the news reports were saying, that there were 2 or 3,000 people in DC that day for the event. And I will say in my life I've never seen so many people. Like you would get to a four-way intersection and look down at the parallel streets and it was the same sea of people that we were standing in. I mean, just shoulder to shoulder, all peacefully going.
There were just thousands and thousands of people out in that field behind us as well. I mean, side
Yep.
to side to side to side.
Towards the Washington Monument. Yep.
Have you ever been to like a political event like that before?
I went to the Trump rally in Erie.
And I went to a Palin rally in Erie, which was nothing compared. But no, nothing to this
Nothing at
magnitude.
that scale.
Yeah.
So what were your expectations? Like, so you go to the rally and then you said you were going to go to the Capitol. What was the purpose of going to the Capitol? Was that something that
Wait
people had
outside
planned?
until we could hear that they had decided to reject the ballots from Pennsylvania, was what I
Okay.
thought was gonna maybe happen. But what I really, like I said before, what I really was intending to do is go, touch earth, pray for
Right.
safety for the people, pray that the right decisions would be made, pray that there would be no violence,
Right.
because there was a level of anticipation from the chatter that was happening online that there might be violence break out, and I was really praying that there would just be peace,
Right.
that everything would happen in the constitutional manner, that our country would be able to pull it out and see that there was shenanigans and deal with it appropriately. And then I figured that the vote would take place maybe a couple of months down the road when they figured out, which set of delegates to accept.
You're at the rally, Trump speaks, and then what happens?
The whole sea of people started moving toward the Capitol, and by started moving, it's like you couldn't move for 20 minutes until people in front of you, behind you,
Right. But we
managed to get
weren't in
out.
a big hurry. All the footage you see, people are rushing and screaming and, you know, piling on top of each other. We were in no hurry. We were singing Kumbaya and walking down the street.
There were people with box music, remember?
Yes. Yes.
They had big speakers, were playing it. It was more the sideshow of a parade kinda thing
So
Yeah.
did you
than
see anybody running or did you see anything like that at all?
The oh, I saw a few illegal things. There was one person that got on the White House lawn. Just one person.
they tackled him.
They did, one person, and we were walking along, and on the right-hand side, do you remember there was that guy screaming that we were supposed to get angry, and he had, like, a little table set up. He was, "Get angry, fight, fight, fight," and everybody was like, "No, no, no, that's what they want us to do. We're gonna stay calm," you know? And I don't know who he was, but he was out of place. Like, he was there for nefarious reasons. And then I think I told you the most illegal thing that I saw, and I sent you a picture of it, were three gentlemen that couldn't find a porta potty, relieving
Being in
themselves on a
front of the
federal
Federal
building.
Reserve.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
that
and
was the
and
most
talk
illegal
about
thing I
that.
saw. Huh?
Talk about that. So they knew this rally was going to happen,
Yeah.
and what did they set up for people that were going to be there?
So, like I said, that it was the most people I've ever seen in my life, and we saw one porta potty. On all of the walking that we did, all the areas we were in, we saw one porta potty, and unfortunately, it was overflowing. Yes,
And there was a line for that.
and there was a
A
line for it.
line.
Yeah,
Like, I think that probably is what held us up long enough that we missed anything at the Capitol steps.
yes, possibly.
Okay, so the speech is over, people start aiming towards the Capitol, and then what happens?
There was at the Capitol ellipse, there was no service, no cell phone service at all. None. And as you got out, somebody in I don't remember if they were in our group or in a group that was standing near ours waiting for the bathroom. Somebody said, "Oh, shots fired." And we looked at each other and we're like, "I didn't hear shots. That's not right. That's not right. Fake news." And then we heard the sirens start to come. And Laura,
Yes,
how
I
many were there? Like 3, 5? I mean, it was just, and the crowd just broke for them when the cars came past. Like
yes,
everybody in a very orderly way, zoop out of the way, let them through. It wasn't like a BLM riot where they were going to roll them.
right. But we decided to immediately head back to the subway station because we figured we didn't need to be a part of whatever was going on, and
We
we
didn't need to
just
be
needed
shots
to get
fired.
out of we needed to get out of the way if, the authorities are coming in to take care of whatever they were coming to take care of. We didn't need to be spectators getting in the way. So
Well,
we
did you see the Capitol? Like, did you have a visual on it?
no, I don't know how close we even got to the
We were
Capitol.
probably several blocks away,
I would
but
assume
just
we
around the
were.
corner there was a train station, so we took the subway and headed out.
But as we were on the subway, I mean, we got to the subway as fast as we could. And as we were on the subway, an alert came over our phone stating that the mayor immediately shut down all public transportation. So if we had not been on that subway, we would not have been able to get out of DC. I don't think people know that. You hear all of these people that got arrested for breaking curfew and hanging out in the city because they were up to no good. If you weren't on that last subway out, you weren't going to get out. You couldn't have gotten out.
The train ride was quick, but on the train, there were a bunch of people who were all, just come from chitter-chattering about, shots fired, what's going on, blah, 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 blah. How do we get out of that? And then there were a handful of guys, maybe 8 to 10 of them, who were definitely they had the regalia, but they were not us.
Right.
You could just you could spiritually sense that we don't know who these guys are. To the point at which when we got off at our stop, which was the end of the line, I went to the station master or the guy at the desk and I said, "Hey, there were shots fired. There are things going on in the Capitol. These guys that are on this train, this car, they're
Something's
sus."
not right. Yeah. I mean, we're all chatting it up and, wondering what's going on, happy to have heard Trump speak. And this group of guys, they were stone faced and didn't say a word. They weren't even talking to each other. And it was just quite odd.
And they were all middle-aged or younger. It was very odd. There were no women in their group
Hmm.
because a lot of the people were couples, but to have 8 to 10 people who were guys all together.
You saw them changing, like, by a van.
Yeah, so we got back to our vehicle and we just want to get somewhere to figure out what had happened. And we're going out of the parking garage and just right in the middle of where the cars should be were these two huge Nissan conversion vans with the license plates covered over. The guys are standing there changing clothes out of their Trump gear and putting on fatigues. We have no idea why. And I wish we would have taken pictures of that, but we were afraid. We didn't know what was going on, right? I mean, we know now that the Capitol was being breached and, things got out of hand, but we had no idea. It could have been anything. So we just wanted to get somewhere that made us feel safe, and in the middle of the parking garage wasn't it. So
Yeah, 4 women with 10 against 10 guys. That's
right.
not our go either.
And you were saying when you were pulling out of the parking garage.
Yeah, so it was quite interesting. So I'm driving, Shannon's in the passenger seat, and we get to the gate where to exit the parking garage, and in the lane next to us are the two vans.
I'm taking pictures with my camera because I want to get their plates.
Right. And I'm saying, Shannon, call 911, call 911. At the same time, I'm scanning my credit card to get us out of the garage because I want to get out of there. And it would not work. It wasn't telling me that my card was denied or anything. It just would not scan my card. And I'm like, somebody give me a card. For whatever reason, my card's not working. And the other two ladies that are with us are digging for a way to pay.
I called 911. I said, "There's something shady going on. This is our location. These are what we see, these guys." I'm trying to take a picture of the plate, but they had one of those, the things that you get for your license plate so that the, if you're going down the toll road and they can't read your
Right.
plate, like it's
Yeah.
a camera scrambler, we could see their plates. We could have memorized the numbers, but I thought I would get them on the photo. Didn't
So
show
That's
up.
anyway,
crazy.
as soon as they are through the gate and across the intersection, my card worked.
It's
They
crazy.
turned one way, we turned the other.
Which way did they turn, like, going back towards the Capitol, or did they where do you know?
We're in Alexandria by now, so I
Okay.
couldn't even tell you which way the Capitol was at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, but just the oddest thing, why are they changing their clothes? Why do they have 2 matching vans? Why is it a bunch of men who are stone-faced, not talking? What what were they doing? Who were they? No
And they
idea.
were American?
Oh, yeah. Yep,
Okay.
yep. The only one I heard say anything was the younger of the 2 guys that were close to us. Shannon, do you remember? Yeah, and, I couldn't tell you what he said, but I know he didn't have an accent, I could tell you that much.
So, what impact has that had on you? And obviously, going forward, and especially now with in our political climate and recent events that happened.
Well, I tell you what, I think the biggest thing for me is, you know, prior to that, I had news sources or a news source that I felt to be valid, and I pretty much hung on every word they said. And I'm not that way as much anymore because everything that you hear is based on what was seen at the Capitol. Okay, this happened. So it must be because, cause and effect. Trump said something, this happened over here, and it couldn't have. Those people could not have heard Trump speak and made it to the Capitol and did what they did. It just couldn't have
Didn't
happened.
happen.
Could not have happened. So I guess my biggest takeaway is to do your own research and don't believe anything or everything you hear. Now Shannon has always been a researcher. So
I signed up to be a poll worker,
Oh,
yeah,
and I said,
wow.
"Not on my watch."
yeah,
But I noticed some things there that were fairly janky and continue to be, at least in my town, so but I'm doing my part. I think that the major news networks are all simultaneously gaslighting us, and I don't trust it. I
yeah,
just don't trust it. I didn't trust it a lot then. I haven't had, you know, because homeschooling, having children, I haven't had television service like cable at my house for more than 20 years. So I don't have that to like lazily fall back on. If I
Right.
want to get news, I have to go and find it.
was one of those oddities. And I actually had cable when I homeschooled and satellite radio. I thought I was informed. To get to DC on that day and not see any media sources anywhere, and then get back to Alexandria and get the same news from all of the
So you
network.
didn't see television cameras, you didn't see any of that?
Not a
There
single
were there
one.
were everything on the online chatter was saying that it was gonna be that there were gonna be false flags, be on the lookout. There were
Mhm.
gonna be feds in the crowd, be on the lookout. BLM was expected to show up, be on the lookout. Antifa was expected to be there, be on the lookout. What they did have security-wise, which generally speaking at a rally, there's security that you can clearly see, with the shades, the earpieces, whatever. But they did have people on the rooftops, like snipers on the rooftops, just
Yeah.
in
Right.
case, which valid, totally valid. You need to keep people safe. But yeah, there wasn't as much security at this, where there were easily a million people,
Right.
as there were at the Trump rally in Erie, Pennsylvania,
And
on the
when was the
ground.
Trump rally in Erie?
It was also cold. So it would have been, that would have been
Well, obviously before
probably,
Butler, right?
yeah.
When they didn't have
Oh, no,
anybody on the
no,
roof.
no.
This
This
would
is
have been like
this is 2020.
October, yeah, of 2020.
So this would have
But
been, yeah, it would have been October, September or October.
yeah, so then that's interesting right there that, they're on the roof at Erie, but nobody's on the roof at Butler.
No, well,
Yeah.
interesting that you would
Yeah.
notice that.
So I have to ask, obviously, because we're almost 2 weeks out of Charlie's shooting, which affected me horribly. And I have my
Yeah.
thoughts on everything, but I'd love to hear what you guys think.
I think it's interesting that they are collecting all of the data, all of the camera imaging and things like that at the Charlie Kirk shooting, just like they were collecting all of the data from the cell phones from people who went and were willing to turn it over, as if the feds were the ones who were going to catalog it and collect it and review it so that they can make us more safe.
Right. Right.
So if you're going to turn your phone over and you were at the Charlie Kirk shooting, please download that before you give it to the feds.
Exactly.
On a more positive note, though, I'm excited for what's happening in the country because I think I'm praying that people are waking up. Yeah, I mean, there may be a million people that would have never heard the gospel if it hadn't been for this terrible thing that happened to Charlie Kirk.
Right.
So I'm not sure how it happened, why it happened, who made it happen. I just know that what I saw yesterday was good coming out of the ashes. And I don't know, I got goosebumps.
Well, and that's one of the arguments that I just had because I saw someone post something and about there being fireworks there and it doesn't look like they're selling merchandise and it's a funeral and I had to go on and say like, people that truly believe in God and truly live through the word of God don't view death as I don't want to say it's not horrible, but they don't view death like some people do.
Yeah.
And, like I was raised Catholic where someone dies and it's debilitating and all of that. I remember when I went to my first Baptist funeral and it was music and dancing and everybody's having fun. And I was shocked. I'm like, what is happening here? But it's the whole, you're putting your faith in God. You are trusting that He is doing this for a reason and we're going to find out what that reason is, and that's truly what everybody in that building was feeling and believes in. And there's so many people that just don't understand that. And I said that everybody mourns in different ways, everybody does funerals in different ways, they do memorials in different ways, and they choose to celebrate life and not death. And I guess I get why that's hard for some people to understand, but I just kind of wish that they would just kind of open their hearts more instead of looking so surface level at it and it being this cult like thing or hidden message type thing or something like that that is negative when it just isn't.
We don't grieve as ones who have no hope.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's the long and the short. Absent in the body is present with the Lord. So,
Yeah.
Charlie Kirk left this earth with blood coming out his neck, and he walks on streets of gold. I
Yeah.
mean, he doesn't no more pain, no suffering.
Right.
So, we don't want him to leave us, but we absolutely don't want him to miss the destination.
Right.
And I think people that aren't brothers and sisters in Christ may not understand it. I know that people around me at work or whatnot are wondering why all of these people are standing up for Charlie Kirk. Are all these people fans? Why are they coming from Ireland and all over the globe for this celebration of life? And I don't think I'll ever forget when I found out that he had gotten shot. My spirit was connected to Charlie's because he's my brother in Christ. And I feel like everyone coming out and speaking up and embracing situations differently because our spirits are grieving over the
Yes.
loss of a brother. But we celebrate knowing that God's going to use everything for good, right? And Charlie's not in any pain. Charlie's having a blast right now. He's probably at a meet and greet up there interviewing a bunch of people that he's, thought about or taught about. I don't know. It was just a horrible thing that happened, and beauty's coming out of the ashes.
Yeah. And I think Trump felt that too when, when he was shot. I was at the RNC, and one of the things that I noticed immediately was he literally had a softness to him. And I know that he thinks that God saved him because he has a job to do. And I really do hope that other people get that and understand that and try to embrace it.
I can personally say for myself that ever since I got the news about Charlie's assassination, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah.
As I mentioned, I work on a college campus. I'm like, I'm going to start a turning point. Wait a second. That's not my gifting. That's not what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I'm waiting to hear from the Lord as to what I'm supposed to do with it, because I know that we're all supposed to learn something and do something. And I can't wait to see what comes of it, because I think we're united as Christians to help in getting the good to come out of what has happened.
I agree. I agree. All right. Well, do you ladies have anything else you would like to talk about?
What
Uh,
was the best part of being 5-year-old Jenny Bash and my very best friend?
you want to know? And it's funny because when she did the I love you, and I literally started laughing when I saw that, and I'm like, oh, I know what that is.
Are
Just
you going to tell the story?
of the sign language.
Yeah, I could tell the story.
You remember it much better than me.
Yeah, so in 4th grade, we had an assignment that we had to go to the library and with a partner, take out a book and learn something from the library. So Jenny and I went and found books on how to fingerspell in sign language. And the creative mind that I am used it later on in the year. Do you remember this?
Creative. That's an interesting
Yes.
word.
Yes, ingenious. So in Mrs. Weaver's class, we sat in a U, and directly across from me is my best friend, Jenny, who's a much better speller than I am. And I held up my fingers to indicate that I didn't know how to spell the word for number 7 and that Jenny should spell it for me. And I don't know if you did or not. You probably didn't.
Of course I did. Why
Okay,
wouldn't
well, you
I?
did.
I had
And
to help you cheat. Oh, I'm
you,
sorry. Be creative. I had
yes,
to
be
help you be
creative.
creative.
And to this day, I'm a terrible speller.
I used to be
And
good until menopause hit. Now,
there you
now
go.
I'm screwed. Yeah.
Yeah. But you still didn't answer the question. Was that the best thing? Was cheating on spelling tests?
Uh, our Barbie time was awesome. That was like I just remember Barbies in the house that your dad built for us, and that was our life. That was literally our life
That
until
dollhouse
we
started out as Iron City beer cases sideways until it's a bookshelf. Yep.
and then we got older. We used to buy cigarettes and pretend to smoke and walk around all the new home developments while our mothers used to climb through the windows of the houses to go in and see what they look like before they were fully built.
Yes. Well, we did that too. We did that too. And then
A
we'd
skill
get
Laura
kicked
learned
out of
well.
we'd get kicked out of the house first thing in the morning, not able to come back home till the lights were on, and we'd go play kickball or uh, baseball all day down in the cul-de-sac. That was
Yep.
amazing. As long
Yep.
as you didn't hit the Schaefer's house. They
Yep.
weren't happy about that.
Exactly.
Yep. But it was a good childhood.
Yeah. It was fun for sure.
And
I appreciate you guys.
it was really great meeting you. Thanks for having us on.
This has been Reasonable Arguments, News and Nonsense. There is so much BS on the mainstream media news, but you knew that. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon. See you next time.